cracking, y'all? It's me, Quin the Movie Guy here, and guess he never saw that coming. What the fuck? Hey, where am I? Hey, you're not supposed to be alive, you son of a bitch. Wait, please, no, mi familia. I need to see my family. Sublime!
Saw X is the latest installment in the Saw film series, directed by Kevin Greutert and stars Tobin Bell and Shawnee Smith. Set in between the events of Saw 1 and 2, the film follows a sick and desperate John Kramer, who travels to Mexico for a risky and experimental medical procedure in hopes of a miracle cure for his cancer, only to discover that the entire operation is a scam to defraud the most vulnerable. Now armed with a newfound purpose, John returns to his work, turning the tables on the con artists in his own signature and visceral way through a series of deadly and terrifying traps. I think I just gotta go ahead and say that this was my first time seeing an actual Saw movie in a theater. Growing up, I was always forbidden by my mother to stray away from gruesome horror flicks that were immensely popular at the time, though I have found a way to watch some iconic ones, such as the early installments of the Chucky movies, A Nightmare on Elm Street, and many others. Though there was always this one film series that I've always been sworn away more often than not, and that was of course the Saw movies. I remember always being fascinated not by the traps themselves, but by a single prop from the movies that barely even served any purpose aside from setting up the trap sequences themselves. I'm of course talking about Billy the Puppet. I mean, come on now, just look at this thing. It's fucking adorable. People are actually scared of this little guy. The director Kevin Greutert has been known for being mainly in charge of a good number of movies in the series, and he even directed 2 of them prior to Saw X, that being Saw 6 and Saw 3D or 7, which I found to be quite enjoyable to say the least. It was nothing to write home about really, but they were decently made films that further pushed the envelope by introducing major story elements that helped elevate them more than being just a torture porn flick. So to see him come back with another main entry in the series, and along with Tobin Bell and Shawnee Smith respectively, I was immediately on board. I never really fucked with the last 2 entries, Jigsaw and Spiral, and it's not just the fact that I avoided them for the longest time, but it's also the fact that they never really felt like a genuine classic Saw movie. But after walking out of Saw X, I'm more than happy to say that it's like we never really left. This time around, we're finally getting more and more exposure to Tobin Bell's character of John Kramer, to whom I low-key admire as not just a character, but also his moral dilemma and his questionable motives of justice. Throughout the movies, we were always thrown back to him, albeit in the form of either a flashback or a recap scene involving him and his accomplices setting up the traps. But in Saw X, there's nothing like that. This is a legitimate spotlight for the character and how we, the audience, are morally challenged by the fact that this movie paints him in a rather different light. I find it really hard to believe that this movie was set in between the iconic Saw 1 and 2, because as far as I can remember, this guy gave no serious fucks about his actions whatsoever. John Kramer is treated more like a martyr here, and we get to see through his desperate attempts to try and get his life back together. And I'm absolutely glad that they got Tobin Bell back again, as they were able to give him some more legwork and an actual spotlight to hold on to, because he absolutely killed it in this movie. This isn't necessarily a spoiler, but there is a scene in the movie where John is sitting by himself in what I assume was a park, and he was sketching down some blueprints for his traps, but you could almost tell by Tobin's expressions that there was some form of hesitation to the character. I think the movie is more or less a proper character study and a unique outlook into what goes on in this character's head, because someone right next to him on the street doesn't know who this man is and what he's actually capable of. Shawnee Smith is back once again as Amanda Young, and she was a major highlight for this movie as well. In the first movie, she too was also a victim of one of Jigsaw's traps, but John was able to offer her a new purpose in life, to carry on his work when he finally passes on. In Saw X, her role is more or less as expected. She serves as John's assistant in a way, but the two have a warmth of closeness within one another. The Saw movies are known for their notorious dark themes, but Saw X in a way manages to somehow break that streak by providing us some proper leeway, a brief pause from the carnage, just to let us have some deeply layered character moments, and Smith was able to translate that feeling very well on screen, and her chemistry with Bell was undoubtedly the best part of this movie.
While Saw X managed to break the mold and offer a unique tale of retribution and desperation, it was still bundled in with some of the major plot holes that the previous movies were always heavily criticized for. In terms of continuity, I don't really see a reason why they would set this in between the first and second Saw movies, considering the fact that Saw 2 in particular painted John in a very different light. I mean, sure, he was the unsung hero of these movies, but he was rather affected by the motivations of him to continue on with his work, and it was almost as if he was back in square one. Also, I don't mean to segue here, but I just gotta address the fact that when I saw this movie, there were some major, and I mean major cuts to some of the graphic scenes. And it was premiered at a local theater near me, and I'm confused. I mean, why censor it? The movies have been known for its graphic and bloody nature. Overall, Saw X was almost, and if not, surprisingly better than the first movie. And I'm honestly really happy that they got the original team back, excluding James Wan, unfortunately. And it ultimately earns its rightful place in the franchise with its ingenious traps. Not to mention, Tobin Bell's performance in this will forever cement him as one of horror's most iconic villains.
So, did you personally know the victim at all?
If I did, I never would have called. Sir, you literally just confessed to first-degree murder. You're gonna have to come with us now.
Well, wouldn't be the first time.
Excuse me?
Never saw that one coming, did you?
Oh gosh, sir, that was... What? Saw?
Game over.
Say